Yeah, whatever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, we're back. It's the season starts off again today. We're down at the Jungle for the for the friendly match, between Castleford Tigers and the Featherstone Rovers. Quick rundown of the team news for you, first of all. Starting with the Tigers, at full-back, it's number 1, Ash Robson. In the three quarters, number 5, Joel Monaghan. Number 4 is Ben Crooks. Number 28 is Greg Minikin. And the opposite winger, a player well known down at Rovers, is number 20, Jai Hitchcocks. In the halves, number 25 is Ryan Hampshire. And number 7 is Tom Holmes. In the front row for the Tigers today, number 8 is Gadwin Springer. Alongside number 23, Will Mayer. And number 6 is the hooker, Paul McShane. In the second row is number 16, Mike McEachen. And number 19, Junior Moores. And the loose forward is number 10, Lee Jewett. On the bench for the Tigers, number 18 is Matt Cook. Number 27 is Brandon Westerman. Number 15 is Adam Milner. Number 14 is Jake Webster. 24 is Ben Roberts. 26 is Kieran Gill. 29 is Brendan Douglas. And number 9 is Declan Sheehan. For the Rovers, a number of debuts today. Starting off at full-back is number 1, Louis Brown, who's come in from the Lions, I believe, and we're talking to Joe about him in a minute. In the three quarters, and there's number 2, Kyron Johnson, making his debut for Rovers today. Is number 3, back at his old stomping ground. It's Michael Channing. He will partner in the centres today, number 4, Jamie Cording. And also on debut today is number 5, Scott Turner. In the half-backs today is number 6, Will Milner. And another player on debut today, number 7. In the front row, two debuts out of 3. Number 8 is Darryl Griffin. And number 9 is Matthew Wildy in hooker. And with Andy Bostock wearing number 10, making up that front row. In the second row for Rovers today, number 11 is Steve Stitch. And on debut today, number 12 is John Davies. And the loose forward is Bradley Tack, who impressed so much towards the end of last year. On the bench for Rovers, number 14 is Sam Day. 15 is Luke Cooper. 16, making his second debut for Rovers, is Colton Roche. 17, Jack Ormondroyd. 18 is Brad Hill. 19, Danny Sowerby. And 20 is Jack Coventry. And today's match referee is Mr. S. Ansell. Joe, a lot of faces in, a lot of faces out. Your thoughts on today's team, first of all?
Well, overall, it's going to be a very exciting game. We're going to hope to learn a lot about this new squad that we've got for us. Perhaps the most important aspect is that we've retained a lot of those young players who really impressed towards the end of last season. That was very much the story of the playoffs and the tail end, the transformation we saw in the side. One disappointing thing, though, is that back line. The fact that we've got Jamie Cording filling in at centre when it looked like an area we'd really strengthened, although we know we've got players to come in there. We've got the likes of Craven and Talapapa, and they're definitely going to add to the side.
Big signing in the half-backs for Rovers. Rovers season could hang on it. Anthony Thackeray coming in at number 7. Your thoughts on that?
I think our season could completely hinge on Anthony Thackeray coming in. Will he work out? Will he not? Based on last season, he was a much developed player than what we've seen previously from him. In his last spell at the Rovers, he was very much a nippy type, coming down the outside, on the shoulder of a player, just hoping to burst through the gap. A bit like Andy Kane, but now, as he's matured, he's developed this playmaker style. He's very much the general on the field, and we'll be hoping to see that from him. Still only 28. There's plenty more life in those legs, Ben.
And in the centres, Michael Channing back on his old stomping ground today. That's a huge signing for Rovers when you think they didn't even make the top 4 last season.
It is a huge signing, Ben. It's a real weapon on the outside, and it's going to be a question of how much use can we make of those players.
And at fullback, a young player in from the Lions, I believe, Louis Brown on debut today. What's said about him in social media in the build-up to this game?
Absolutely, Ben. I mean, what a day for a player like that. You know, previously playing in the conference, and now he's making this step up. He's playing here, Fevcast Derby. He's here at the Jungle. There's going to be thousands of people watching, and he's got to make sure that the pressure doesn't get to him and that he's allowed to, you know, exhibit his talents clearly enough, because he's a player who plenty of people are raving about. It's a big step up, but he's got to not be scared of it. He's got to be willing to try things, willing to make mistakes if needs be.
Colton Rush on second debut today. I remember watching him down at Wales a couple of years ago, and for me, he played an absolute blinder that day, and then never really got another chance after that, did he?
He's also got good use of his hands, but sometimes he's got to learn when to keep hold of the ball, and also he's got to put the work in defence. That's what we'll be hoping for today, because the conditions are telling us it's going to be a day for the forwards.
Indeed, and just finally looking at the new signings that are playing today, in on the second row is John Davis from Sheffield. He is a huge player for Sheffield last year, and again, he could be a big signing for Rovers if he can make the impact.
He's been a massive player for many of you here down at Sheffield, and whenever he's played against the Rovers, he's put in a good shift. He's the kind of experienced player in the forwards that we needed to replace the likes of Paul Wood, who certainly those players will be missed in the side, and John Davis, perfect man to do so. Let's hope he can put on a show for us.
And we can't have a Castleford match today without talking about the winger for Castleford from Featherstone, of course, Jai Hitchcock. He'll be looking for a big match and to prove a point today, won't he?
Well, Jai is a man of exceptional ability in some aspects. He's got great pace, and that fend was the best in the league last year, I thought. So we know on the kick return how dangerous he can be. However, under the aerial ball, I'm thinking we send a couple of bombs up to Jai, and people have got to be looking to put a hit on early. He's a man who's got to be putting his hand up and taking a lot on. Could be make or break for him.
Other big signings for Castleford, of course, Joe Monaghan coming in. Experience in that on that wing position again.
Joel Monaghan has been phenomenal for around a decade now, but the issue is that how long can he keep on performing at that level? Warrington were fine to let him go this season, but can he show that that was a mistake? And can he have a brilliant season here for Castleford? It'll certainly be interesting to watch today.
Where do you see the other threats in this Castleford team for Rovers today? Where do you see the danger coming from?
Well, a very interesting one is Ryan Hampshire finally getting the run at standoff. He was often playing out on the wing for Wigan, but now he's looking to show what he can do down the middle, how he can be a bit of a playmaker, but also very willing to take advantage of a gap in the team. And with Featherstone being a squad that are unfamiliar with each other, you'd expect those gaps to open, and he could well be the man to exploit them.
Some strange news, well, shocking news really, pre-season, with Scott Leatherbarrow, of course, passing away pre-season. As the two teams come out, but such a shame because Leatherbarrow was one of the better referees, wasn't he?
Indeed, at championship level, it can be a very difficult standard to referee because you've got varying abilities of players, and certainly you saw many a game which he was able to keep controlled and let the game flow a bit, which is something that is often complained about at this level. Disappointing to have that loss.
And today's referee, Mr. Ansel, will be hoping for a good game from him today. Not one I'm familiar with. I think maybe he's made the step up from Championship 1 up to this level.
I believe he had a couple of games up at this level, but certainly not one of the regular names.
Here come the Tigers now. Both teams look to be lining up. I fancy there may be a minute's silence, Joe, coming up.
95%.
Today's match referee, Scott Ansell, takes his place in the middle of the field, flagged by his 2 touch judges. I think we are going to have a minute's silence now, so I'll sign off for a minute. A minute's applause there. It's the Tigers who are going to get first use of the ball in this pre-season friendly. It's Castleford Tigers against Featherstone Rovers, live from the jungle. And Rovers will be looking to make a big impact and get some momentum going into this pre-season campaign with the likes of Wakefield, Salford and the Rhinos still to come. It's a big pre-season for a big start at Bradford, Joe.
Indeed, so interesting fixtures there, and I'm sure it can give these players ample preparation for what is going to be a very interesting season.
And so Rovers, Darryl Griffin in that first tackle for Rovers. Here come the Tigers now looking to work out. Good defence from Rovers early doors though. Matthew Wildey involved in that tackle. And the Tigers then up to their 40. Paul McShane, we're in 6, but we're in a hooker today. And the Tigers attacking now that right-hand edge, but good defence from Rovers. That's the last tackle. And here comes the kick. How's Louis Brown under that? That's a good take. A good early take for Louis Brown, but great defence on him. And he'll take confidence from that, Joe. But a good start for the Tigers.
Indeed, Castleford completing their first set, but Rovers pinning them back. Them only just breaking into our half before the kick. Brown's well under it, and that'll give him some confidence early doors.
Here come Rovers then, looking to work out there up to the 30 now. Here goes Bostock. Such a powerful weapon, Andy Bostock, off the bench especially. Got starting berth today. Wildy finds Thackeray. He'll get a kick over, but not the best kick. Taken on the full on the Tiger. The attack out wide. That was a huge tackle. But a penalty conceded. But that was a vital tackle over that far side, Joe. Otherwise, the Tigers were away.
It was, and perhaps a wise penalty to give away, because if they got the quick play of the ball, our defence was dishevelled and there were opportunities for the break.
Here come the Tigers now then. It's Godwin Springer. Plays the ball to McShane. Through the hands it goes out. That's a poor pass though. Momentum is lost. And Karen Johnson, just manages to tap the ankle. Helped out in the end by Michael Channing. But loose play there from the Tigers, Joe, and lucky to get away with it in a way. Through the hands it goes now. Here the Tigers, but a slip. McShane moves that ball out to that right-hand edge now. Here are the Tigers, just outside the 20. Here's the last tackle, says the referee. And there's the kick over the top for the corner. The ball's come loose, has it? What's the referee going to call here? He's going to call the knock-on. It's going to be a turnover for Rovers. Panic in the ranks over on that far side from that kick, Joe, but Rovers come away with the ball.
Indeed, no player quite under it. Perhaps we've seen a lack of communication there with it being the first game of the season. The line also not in unison, so these players need to get together. They need to open a gobs, Ben.
They do indeed. Wildy moves that ball inside. What can Matty Wildy bring to this side? Obviously, he's come in as well, along with Thackeray from Dewsbury. As Davis takes that ball up to the line now, what can Wildy bring?
Well, an important aspect of Wildy's game is his versatility. He can fill in as either of the half-backs, or he can go in at hooker like he is today. And that's perhaps something we won't see in his first game, but over the season could be a very useful asset for us.
Indeed, here's John Davis then, just on halfway. Plays the ball to Wildy. Wildy finds Thackeray. Thackeray through the hands to Will Milner. He'll put the kick over the top. That's a better kick. In between the fullback and the winger. That's a great kick from Milner, and what a chase as well.
Much better. Splits the two men, and it hits the turf as well, which on boggy ground like this, it's going to hold up. It's going to be a pain to field, Ben. But then we give the penalty away just when we could have piled on the pressure, tried to contain them. We're letting Castleford get out.
Not standing square is the referee's decision. So a relieving penalty for the Tigers. Gets them into the Rovers half again. Rovers getting good position, Joe. Making good position from the kicks, but so far it's the discipline that's costing us.
It is two early penalties putting us under the cosh this time again. Need to hold out in defence now.
Here are the Tigers now then. That's a good run from Will Mayer. Tigers attacking that Rovers line now. McShane from acting half. He'll move it right. Through the hands it goes. And that's a good start for the Tigers. It's Ben Crooks who's over. Able to dance in between the two tackles. And down the ball. Midway between the upright and the corner flag. The Tigers get first blood. It's Castleford Tigers 4, Featherstone Rovers 0. But I mentioned it then, Joe, the discipline cost us on that occasion.
Indeed it did, Ben. We're just inviting pressure on ourselves time and time again. And sure enough, it's going to tell. Like we've said, players aren't in sync with each other yet. Gaps are going to appear. And Castleford just kept hold of the ball, kept their composure, and were able to take advantage there.
So the Tigers then holding a 4-0 lead. This conversion maybe 7 or 8 metres in from touch. Rovers can't be too downhearted by this. They're good. There's drives they've taken in, Joe. They've been good drives. They've got good position from the kicks. If they can tidy up the discipline, pin the Rovers back, and the chances will come, won't they?
Indeed, Ben. We're coming out well when we've got ball in hand. It's just a case of staying more disciplined, staying in line, and letting them get through their set, letting them work to a kick. We'll return it, and we'll try and get down the other end. We're not playing in the right areas of the field at the moment.
Conversion is successful for the Tigers. Can't see who it was. Ryan Hampshire it was with the conversion. So the Tigers have the early lead. It's Castleford Tigers 6, Featherstone Rovers 0.
It's an awkward kick-off there from Brown, and Davis is right on the chase. It's exactly the response we needed from Featherstone.
Here are the Tigers, and it was a great kickoff from Brown. And here goes Gadwin Springer. Gets the Tigers into the Rovers half again. There's a kick over the top. Louis Brown chasing it. Is he going to get out? He does superbly to get out, does Louis Brown. From a superb Tigers chase, it has to be said. And Rovers now pinned to their own line. How they could do with a penalty.
Well, he saw a wall of 4 Castleford men there, did Louis Brown. But he didn't cop out, and sure enough there, he's wanting to take the third one in too.
Thackeray with an early kick. Not the best kick, really. Hitchcock's picks up.
Well, they're skewing the kick from acting half off the outside of the boot, and it's put Featherstone under pressure, but Castleford releasing the ball there in the tackle, and Featherstone have got the ball back now.
Here is the free play. So Rovers with a let-off, really. It was a disappointing kick from the play the ball by Wildy. But Rovers have a let-off and they can build some more momentum now. And there's the first penalty of the afternoon for the Rovers.
Yeah, hands in the tackle there from Cass. Featherstone, here we are. If we've got more sets, if we've got more possession of the ball, we're going to be able to work ourselves out. And just short of the halfway line now, let's see what we're capable of.
It's a tap from Cording. That's clever play from Cording. Makes a good 10-15 metres and gets Rovers off now. Here's Bostock. Through the hands it goes. Thackeray now. Further to Channing. Channing takes on the line. That's good play from Rovers. The ball's come loose to Johnson. That's a great offload from Channing. Even I didn't see that one at first. The Rovers, that's a great play, Joe.
Much better from Featherstone. This is exactly what we want to see in pre-season. Players are willing to play freely. They're willing to give it hands. Players like Andy Bostock releasing the ball without going into the tackle first. It's unheard of. And then Channing, great offload out the back door.
So Rovers now in the Tigers 20. Here's Thackeray again. Takes on the line. Finds Brown. Brown takes on the line, but it's well wrapped up. That's the last tackle, says the referee. John Davis is in at in half. He'll find Thackeray now. Thackeray with a kick for the corner. That's a great jump and a great take for the Tigers. Ben Crooks, what a take, but a good set from Rovers, Joe, making good possession. If we can keep our discipline on this set now, we've got a great opportunity.
Yeah, Cording came out second in the aerial battle there, but he wasn't as well placed as the Castleford man, so you wouldn't expect any better from him. But Scott Turner, very wise, knew that there was a man on the outside, made sure he stayed back and was able to complete the tackle. So Castleford is still coming from deep with this set.
Gadwin Springer causing problems every time he brings that ball forward. There's an early kick from the Tigers, which Louis Brown takes easily enough, and he offloads to Scott Turner. And here goes Louis Brown again. That's taking it in twice in 2 tackles. Rovers 10 metres shy of halfway now. Wildy takes on that line himself. Will Milner moves in now. Milner offloads to Bostock. He gets Rovers into that Tigers half now. And there's another penalty. Rovers will take that one very nicely. Thank you, Mr. Referee. And Rovers now with a chance to build some great field position, Joe.
Indeed. Fantastic leg drive there from Bostock. Usually a man we see as an impact player from the bench, but starting today and was very important in piling on the pressure there.
So there's the tap. And here come Rovers now. One thing I noticed, Thackeray then, Joe, when that ball was being driven in, Thackeray was in support, right on the shoulder. I think that's an asset of his play we'll see a lot more this year.
Well, both Thackeray and Wildy, we saw it for Dewsbury. Their support play was fantastic last year. Certainly, we've said he's matured as a player, but he's still got that as an asset to his game.
And he takes on that Tigers line now. Rovers close to the Tigers line. Wildy offloads.
Tag couldn't quite work his way over there from short distance, but gets another play of the ball. Thackeray now sends it out the back. Channing, he offloads to Brown.
That's off the Tigers. The Tigers, I think it was Hitchcock's had to get a hand to that. That's going to be head and feet to Rovers. If Hitchcock's hadn't got a hand to that, Joe, Karen Johnson was in the corner. A vital hand. A try-saving hand, but Rovers are going to get head and feet at the scrum.
Players willing to express themselves today. Ben, that was nice shape. Again, we saw the offload from Channing, and Kyron was nearly over in the corner.
So Rovers down with another 6 tackles now. On this Tigers line, 10 metres out, centre field. Wildy waits. He goes to the left, finds Will Milner, slips.
Curse of the turf, Ben.
Here's Wildy again. He takes on the line. Is it Matty Wildy? Is he over? No, he's held up. That is outstanding Castleford Tigers defence. I thought for all the world then Matty Wildy was over, Joe. But credit to the Tigers, outstanding defence.
Good off the cuff play from Wildy. He played what was in front of him and looked for all the world. He was over. Tag held just short there. Credit where it's due. Fantastic defence from the Tigers.
Here's Thackeray.
Oh,
the kick through.
The ball came low.
Rovers are forced to drop out. Rovers are forced to drop out, piling on the pressure, Joe. And Rovers really, this is going to lift their spirits. This is a third repeat set now. One from the mistake from Hitchcock's, getting a hand in. Now forcing a dropout. They've really got to capitalise.
Great heads-up play from Thackeray there. Wildy was tackled whilst giving the pass, so the pass came low. Thackeray kicks it on the fly. It goes in behind the goal, and there we were. The Featherstone men were on it quick enough to force the dropout. Bostock, the battery ram, taking it in. It's exactly what we needed.
Indeed. Here's Thackeray again. Davies. Thackeray is wreaking havoc out there at the minute for Rovers, causing so many problems. Wildy takes on the line this time, goes to Milner. Milner to Brown. Brown with a looping pass. Turner just overran it. So the chance is gone, but Rovers at the minute, Joe, Thackeray is causing so many problems to that Tigers defence.
He definitely is. Perhaps today, given the conditions, it's not a time for set plays, but he's such a great off-the-cuff player that he is wreaking havoc. That's true. And the durable players like Andy Bostock and John Davis doing a real job out there as well, it has to be mentioned. Brown there, the pass wasn't quite on. The execution wasn't quite there either. And so when he sent it out, it didn't fall to Turner. But we said he had to be willing to express himself, to make mistakes and not be afraid of that. We can't now blame the lad for doing what we said.
And look at this defence from Featherstone Rovers now. Keep your discipline, and Rovers have got the Tigers in a great position. Oh, that's clever play out the back door though, but Rovers swarming defence, another offload, but look at that defence again. Rovers man to man, every offload is a man on the next offload ready. And there's another offload. This time the Tigers do get a mini break, but great play from both teams there. And it started.
Griffin.
Darryl Griffin involved in something. I didn't see what happened, but it was Darryl Griffin was one. There were two Castleford players involved. Joe?
Every player except Louis Brown now involved. Well, it wouldn't be a Fevcast derby without this, would it, Ben? This is very much a warm welcome for the debutants, and they're seeing what this fixture's all about. Game's already had everything, Ben. We've seen some lovely bits of play. We've seen some shabby bits of knock-ons. We've seen some ill discipline, and now the scraps broke out. That's all of it ticked off the list. It's not even happened on Boxing Day. some traditions have to be kept.
They do have max at 10 paces almost. Referee, a card's coming out. What colour is it going to be? There's a card coming out. Is it yellow already? It's yellow. Darryl Griffin's gone for 10. I feared the worst for a minute when I saw the card coming out then, Joe. But Darryl Griffin's gone and Castleford player's gone as well. Mike McKeekan has gone for the Tigers. So Griffin for the Rovers, McKeekan for the Tigers. Who's the penalty going to? And now the referee is calling out the captains. I don't know who the Rovers captain is today.
Jamie, the cameraman there, telling us that looks like Griffin struck first. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But I reckon he was about ready to be spelled anyway. So not the worst of sin beings for us. McMeekin, dangerous player. One from either side. That should calm it down in theory. Yet to see if it bubbles over again in practice.
Good refereeing, for a good decision from the referee though. Some referees would have acted a lot firmer than that, a lot stronger than that. As Jack Ormondoy comes on for Bradley Tagg now.
How many times did he make an impact coming off the bench late last season? Let's see if he can do the same today.
Here are the Tigers now. Rovers have had a good spell of pressure on the Tigers line. Let's see how the defence is now. Bostock involved in that tackle. It's not a player I would want to run into if I was taking the ball in. Here come the Tigers. It's a neat kick. Ooh! Kyron Johnson, the way he left that one, Joe. He must have been sure that was going dead. As Louis Brown takes that first tap and that first drive. But Kyron Johnson, probably the calmest man in the whole of the jungle there.
It was very brave or precise judgment from Johnson. It came off for him though, so we can't blame him. We can't say anything wrong about that. Looks like Owen Ryan's about to take his first drive in now. No, we come down the short side. It's Davies. Sends it into Channing. The pass was too hard and he couldn't take a hold of it. Castleford have the ball back now just inside their own half.
Yeah, disappointment.
Needed to keep a bit of possession there. We couldn't get over the last time we had ball in hand. We failed to do so again.
So the Tigers restart this on halfway. Channing will be looking for a big match today for the Rovers. As well Hitchcock's for the Tigers. Not really done much yet. Except for that one vital interception really from Hitchcock's that try-saving interception a few minutes ago.
Looking at the pitch, the way it's being churned up at the moment reminds me of the game down at Loch Lane as a pre-season fixture last year. And there we are. Monaghan going over in the corner for Castleford as they swing it out wide. It was brave play, but they kept hold of it all the way. And who says that man still can't do it?
Great play from Monaghan for the Tigers' second try. So the Tigers' lead stretches out to 10 now. Great play, working it down that right-hand edge. They pass out wide to Monaghan. The gap opened up and Monaghan over in the corner. Rovers are going to be bringing on Colton Rush by the looks of it any minute. It's Andy Bostock who's coming off. Colton Rush has caused so many problems, as I said earlier, in that match down against the Crusaders a couple of years ago before he left the Rovers. He'll be looking for an impact today, Joe, won't he?
He will. He's got a second chance at the Rovers, and there's not many people who get a third, so it's important that he puts on a good display today.
So Ryan Hampshire with this conversion attempt. Already kicked one this afternoon. He's kicked another. That stretches the lead out further. It's the Tigers 12. It's the Rovers 0. So Colton Roche now be looking to make an impact. Louis Brown is going to be taking this kickoff again. There is the kickoff from Brown. Bit deeper this time. Taken easily enough, and here's that first try. But look at that defensive line. So quick to move up.
Slipping off the tackles early doors a little, but all the players were able to get back involved and eventually bring the man to ground. Castleford allowed to get too much of a roll on here early in the set. They're breaking out far too easy. We need to control that play, Ben. And Davies there getting on top, making sure he's dominant in the collision. That did the job.
What a tackle that was, and an early kick from the Tigers. Louis Brown chases back. Is it going to hold up? That's a beauty of a kick. An absolutely fantastic kick there. I think it was Paul McShane.
Playing perfect to the conditions, Ben, and that held up. It was difficult, but Brown returning it again.
Here's Kyron Johnson. Here goes Colton Roche. Wilder from the base of the scrum finds Ormondroyd. Rovers up to the 40. This is a better defensive set from the Tigers. Thackeray puts a dink for the corner. For the idea was there. The gap was there. If the execution had been better for Kyron Johnson to pick up that ball. We all know the speed he's got when he gets the gap. But the execution from Thackeray not on points on that occasion. And Rovers could have had the Tigers pen back, and instead the Tigers are starting just inside the Rovers half.
Well, Jaya dropped back sufficiently that if Kyron did take that, it would have been a step inside, and it would have been interesting to see how Castleford had been able to nab hold of him. It only took for that ball to hold up in the mud rather than skidding along, and could well have been in there, Ben.
Trainer just having a word there with Anthony Thackeray. Presumably to do with the kick he's just taken. Your thoughts on the opening exchanges so far, Joe? The Tigers in control on the scoreboard, but the Rovers, when they're getting the opportunities, they are looking dangerous.
Well, Castleford is showing to be a team with more familiarity, playing with each other, whereas Featherstone are a very new squad, unfamiliar with each other, and those that are the young, less experienced players. Anyway, making a breakthrough there, Castleford, but well pinned back by the covering defence. Milner there making an important challenge along with Cordin.
Here are the Tigers now, then attacking that Rovers line, but good defence on that occasion. 3 in the tackle. Davies and Roche. And there's another good drive. The Tigers are into the 20. That's a step inside from Minikin. McShane down the short side. Hitchcock's is not over. That's great. Outstanding defence from Featherstone Rovers in the corner to hold Jai Hitchcock's up tight to the touchline. He'll have to come back 10 metres.
Phenomenal from Kyron there. Hitchcock has the weight on him, but he managed to take him upstairs, and then Brown was quickly across to back him up.
Turner's lost that ball. It's back to 6. The tackle counts wide. Rovers scrambling defence, keep them out. But Rovers really are under the cosh at the minute. A real test of the Rovers' mettle, Joe.
Indeed. You know, it's disappointing that we're inviting this pressure upon ourselves, but it's important that we have some of that in pre-season to see what these players are made of in defence. Castleford there. The Featherstone men have been drawn in to cover, and they take full advantage of that, sending it out wide. Minkin goes over in the corner. It's great off the cuff play to take advantage from Castleford. Disappointing for the Rovers. We need to see improvement there.
Great play from the Rovers, from the Tigers, that it has to be said. That repeat set, Rovers were always going to be under the cosh. 6 tackles on that Rovers line. And the Tigers just through the hands. The gap opened up on this near side. And Minikin able to get over. So the Tigers now with a 16-0 lead. The conversion from Ryan Hampshire will make it 18-0. That was the score at full time this time last year. When the Tigers won 18-0 down here last year. Rovers just need to get some sort of foothold at the minute, don't we? And try and get hold of the ball and get some field position back, Joe. Definitely.
You go back 10 minutes, it was looking very promising down at the other end of the field, but we were just unable to find our way over. Then you feel the Featherstone heads maybe went a little where scrap broke out, and Castleford have come out the other side of that more composed, more together, and they've been the ones finding the way through. Featherstone haven't. They need some territory. They need some possession. Hampshire there sends another kick over. Sure enough, it's 18-0.
So the conversion is successful. Tigers lead 18-0. Rovers just need to try and steady things down now. Just get some field position. There's been another change made. Sam Day, I think, has come on for Rovers. And I think it's Matthew Wilder who's gone off.
Day certainly a player who can inject some enthusiasm, Ben, and perhaps his scooting game will be able to take advantage today.
There's a kick-off. It's taken on the full. And here come the Tigers again. Rovers could really do with the Tigers making some sort of mistake at the moment just to try and relieve this onslaught that we've got at the minute. That's a good tackle there from Rovers, though. Sam Day involved, along with Ormondroyd. Day looking to get involved again. Tigers into the Rovers half. Here's Minikin. He's got Hitchcock's outside. Goes himself. Greedy from Minikin. I fancy Hitchcock's might have been away in the corner had he released that ball, Joe. There's a knock on. What's the call going to be? I don't think anybody knows. Is it going to be a scrum down? That was on the last play, I think, so it's a turnover. Bit of a strange signals there from the referee, but Rovers are going to get a
like he'd received the call from the touch judge, but for some reason it was a knock on, so he did give the signal for a scrum, then realised it was the last tackle, so he's awarded the handover. We've got the right decision in the end, so all's well that ends well.
Rovers, this set just need a steady set as Ormondroyd's away. What a step from Ormondroyd! That was outstanding. That man
breaks through well enough, and he's got the pace to make the distance, but Castleford coming away with the ball there.
What a tackle back from John Davis! A try saver if ever there was one. But here are the Tigers now. Through the hands it goes. Are they in the corner again? Look at that defence on Monaghan. What defence to hold by Steve Snitch to hold on Joe Monaghan. First of all, John Davis down one side of try saver. Steve Snitch down the other side of try saver, Joe. But Rovers under the cosh again.
Disappointing for Featherstone to lose the ball like that, but then what character for two of the blokes on the fringes with some grunts. And there we are, Monaghan going out into touch there. Featherstone have the ball back. Those two try savers have seen us get the ball now, and that can make a huge difference going into half-time. Normally, pre-season, you expect it to be the fancy players with the ball skills who are going to impress, but it's been that man, John Davis, so far for me. He's shown some real grunts, and he's made some really important tackles for us today.
That try save from John Davis, especially a real It looked for all the world like the Tigers were over. But John Davis' superb effort to keep the Tigers out. Rovers just need to settle things down, Joe. Don't just complete a set, get some field position back, and build from there again.
Indeed, and what was crucial about Snitch on that far side was the way that he took his man upstairs and prevented an offload because he was outgunned down that side. If they got the ball away, they were over.
Here's Colton Roche. 3 in the tackle. Sam Day waits. He looks right. He's going to offload and find Thackeray now. Thackeray splits the 2 again. It bounces nicely, though. Awkwardly, should I say. What a kick from Thackeray. That looked for the Tigers like they were safe as houses under that for a minute. But the chase from Thackeray and Rovers, keep your discipline. Force a mistake and they've got some field position.
Definitely. There was the dip there on the ball, and you've got to make sure you find a turf in this weather because nobody knows what's going to happen with that ball when it hits the ground.
So the Tigers inside their own 40. That's good defence from Rovers there. Colton Roche in the tackle along with Davis, but that's quick play from Atson half. And here are the Tigers. It's a 2 deep, is that. That's poor play from the Tigers. From Jay Webster, from Atson half. The idea was there, but the kick way too deep. And Kyron Johnson able to take that one with ease, Joe.
We are seeing a variety in the calibre of the kicking game today. That's another sign of it being the first game of the season. Everyone wants to go, but perhaps they're not quite up to scratch yet.
Here's Griffin. Rovers inside the Tigers 40 again now. Sam Day finds Thackeray. Thackeray drops it off to Colton Roche. Day waits again. Here's Thackeray again. He'll put a kick. It's off the Tigers, is it? What's the decision going to be? Was it played at? No, it wasn't, says the referee. It'll be heading feet to the Tigers on the 20. But Rovers completing a set, getting in the right areas, Joe, and pinning the Tigers back on the 20. And if they can have a good defensive set here, keep the discipline, they've got a chance to build again.
Definitely, we're well into this game now, and we're down the right end of the field. They've got ball in hand, but we need to look to pin them. We need to control that ruck as well. Make sure we can get all our men back on side. Perfect start to the set.
Oh, that's going to be a penalty.
They played for it, but Ormonroyd had to make sure he was out from behind the tackle there. Otherwise, he was always going to get caught up in it, and sure enough, penalty offside.
The Tigers don't even make halfway, though, so Tigers now just 8 metres inside that Rovers half. Here's the first play of the ball. Through the hands it goes. McShane waits. He finds Junior Moores. Moores gets the Tigers into 20. McShane now. Drop off pass. The Tigers looking to offload. But sensational play from Anthony Thackeray. Read the offload to perfection, Joe. And then not only did he read the offload to perfection, he's won Rovers a penalty. And that is absolutely superb.
Indeed. Looked like we were going to be put under pressure again.
Not found touch.
That's unacceptable from Feather, I'm afraid. Thackeray trying to impress in his first game for the Rovers, but just had to make sure he found touch there. Instead, Jai returns it, and Casa back into Featherstone 30.
Here are the Tigers again then. Paul McShane waits. It's in half. On the 20 now.
Griffin lucky to avoid getting the penalty away there. Oh, it's good work from Castleford. They made sure they had the numbers down the middle, and sure enough, they found their way over.
Superb play was from the Tigers. I didn't see who the scorer was, but again, a Rovers mistake penalised. Thackeray not finding touch, a cardinal sin if ever there was one, and punished in the best way possible by the Tigers with a 4-pointer. Castleford Tigers 22. Featherstone Rovers 0.
It's disappointing on the scoreboard, to say the least, Ben, and perhaps disappointing in some aspects of the way the game's going. But Featherstone have been taking risks today. We could have ground it out and made the scoreline less flattering to the Tigers, but that's not been the approach we've decided to take. We've decided to try things. Sometimes it's not worked out, and sometimes it's put us under pressure, like that kick not making touch there. I'm sure you give us a regular league game in the season, and that would have been going out on the 30-metre line every time.
Ryan Hampshire will convert this one, I have no doubt. This will be 24-0. Indeed it is. It's Castleford Tigers 24, Featherstone Rovers 0. And surely now, Joe, the message has got to be just to get to half-time. If we can get over for some points, all the better. But just keep your discipline. Don't try anything too fancy.
In that, Ben, you do have to remember it is a pre-season friendly, and the purpose we're trying to get out of this is to develop the combinations between players and for players to have a chance to impress and show what they can do as an individual, what they can offer John Sharp to the team he's trying to create. There's players yet to come in. They'll be competing for places, so every man who's got the shirt today needs to impress individually. They won't just be trying to scramble to half-time, that's for sure.
Another great kickoff from Louis Brown. They're all causing problems again, but just taken by the Tigers, and here they are now. This looks to be a better defensive set from Rovers, but the gap opened up then. Still going to the Tigers, but well wrapped up on that occasion. That surely is the last tackle. Yes, it is, says the referee. So better defensive set from Rovers. That's the kick for Cass now. Good pressure on the kicker. That's well taken by the Rovers. And that's a good defensive set for Rovers, Joe. Great pressure on the kicker and a good take on the kick and a good return as well.
Certainly. It's important that we just keep hold of the ball for this entire set. Now we work it out and we try to get some structure back into our play.
Darryl Griffin. Rovers don't need to worry about making the yardage. They just need to grind out, keep possession. Here's Thackeray, moves it on to Davis. Davis to Channing. Tigers know what he can do. Channing back to Davis again. Davis takes on that line himself. That'll do for Rovers. Day waits. Off the foot, it's all right. Danny Sowerby is on for the Tigers. So he has a chance to impress now. That's good play. It's a good kick through. Wildy.
We've seen the other element of Wildy's game now. He's able to play at standoff in the halves alongside Thackeray, and we've spoken about that versatility and what it can offer to a team. Let's see what he can do now playing in the halfback.
A big opportunity here for Danny Sowerby as well off the bench. He's got an opportunity to impress, and what bigger stage to make a name for yourself.
Certainly, there's a man down there in back play. It does look serious, but he is making movement now. Sure enough, the medical staff are on to attend to him, and the game's been stopped.
Can't see who that is from here. Doesn't look good. Rovers players both teams taking on water, taking instructions from the trainers. Still can't see who this player is. But either way, it doesn't look good. The good news is, whoever it is that's injured, we still can't see. It's sat up. It's Matty Wilde. He's going to take a breather. So back comes Will Milner now. So I think we might see a change. Will Milner, it's just a like-for-like swap now. Milner coming back on Wilde. He was in the house at the time, wasn't he? So it's just a like-for-like swap.
Indeed. Crucially there, Wildy walking himself off the field. But he has gone straight down the tunnel with the medical staff. So gotta hope it's all right. That's the most crucial part of these preseason games, that you get through with all your players intact.
Louis Brown not able to take that one as the referees wipes the tackle count clean again. Rovers swarming defence, so that's great effort.
Just couldn't get to that ball there. Some of those players need to be held back by the Rovers men who are working their way back. You just got to try and obstruct them without obstructing them, realistically.
But the effort from the Rovers defence at the time, though, was here come the Tigers again down this left-hand edge, swarming round the Tigers players, stopping them getting that move away from the mistake. And the Tigers standing on that occasion, but there's a dart.
Oh. Well, we spoke about Hampshire before the game, Ben. Bursting through that gap that just opened up for him. And sure enough, he sent his man through there. He's had the presence of mind.
It's Mike McMakin who got the ball from Hampshire. As Joe says, Hampshire saw the gap, went through it. Able to offload to McMakin. And McMakin able to ground it just to the right of the uprights. So the Tigers stretch out further. It's Castleford Tigers 28, Featherstone Rovers 0. Right on half time as the hooter goes. Just wait for this conversion from Ryan Hampshire. Been an almost perfect half for the Tigers. Rovers will just be able to get in, regroup. Hampshire with the conversion. That takes the lead out to 30. 5 tries for the Tigers. Crooks, Monaghan, Minkin, McMakin to a 30-point lead. It's been one-way traffic on the scoreboard, Joe. What can Rovers take from the first half?
Well, a pleasing aspect of this game is that Castleford are putting on a good performance, Ben, and it's challenging these players early doors. Realistically, we're playing a full-time side when we've not had much pre-season training going into this. It's the first pre-season game up, so a full-time side's always going to be more prepared than a part-time outfit like Featherstone. There have been some pleasing aspects in terms of individuals, though. We've spoke about John Davis and how he's given us that real grunt, and we've lost a lot in the forwards. Ben, Jack Bussey's going to be a huge miss, as are the likes of Paul Wood and Jordan Baldwinson, along with Alex Foster. You're then looking at the rest of the side, Channing willing to try those offloads, and plenty of them coming off. That could be a real asset to us. The last time we saw offloading like that in the centre was when Andy Bostock was playing out there, and Channing certainly got more pace than that man on the outside. He could be a real threat this season.
Indeed, he could. Plenty for Rovers to take from the half, but the Tigers, well and truly in control. The half-time score here at the Jungle. Castleford Tigers 30, Featherstone Rovers 0. Welcome back to the second half here at the Jungle. Castleford Tigers 30, Featherstone Rovers 0. Rovers are going to get first use of the ball in this second half. Joe, John Sharp at half time, what do you say?
Well, the players have just got to start from 0-0 again, haven't they? Pre-season game, like we've said, they've still got to be willing to express themselves ball in hand, but they've got to show more in defence, Ben. They've got to communicate better because they're not staying in one line, and players like Hampshire are just picking them off far too easy. They're seeing the gap and calibre of player who can exploit it.
Tigers have looked really dangerous in that first 40 minutes. Rovers need to do something. It's a pre-season friendly down at the Jungle. It's Castleford Tigers 30, Featherstone Rovers 0. We're just waiting for a kicking tee from somebody. Nobody seems to be in any urgency to get one either. And so there's the kick-off. Taken by Thackeray, and here's that first drive in from Danny Sowerby. Rovers turned over possession straight away though. And a change for the Tigers. Says Kieran Gill come on. He's replaced Joel Monaghan.
Rovers. Second tackle, losing possession of the ball there. It's on the shoulder of Davies, and he's going to struggle to take that. Just want to keep it simple early doors. Maintain possession of the ball.
Oh, I thought they managed to force him into touch. He did really well to stay in the field of play, though, did the Tigers. The Tigers take that ball in again. It's Matt Cook. That's a great offload, though. Rovers not covering that ball up. Here's Ash Robson. Still going, Robson, but good defence. Tigers spreading that ball out. There's a neat kick through. Rovers way too slow to react. It's Ash Robson with the try. Saw the gap, a neat kick through the gap. Rovers way too slow to react. And Ash Robson able to dive over. Goes from bad to worse for Rovers, Joe. An incomplete set. A Tigers try. So Tigers 34, the Rovers 0.
Again, they invited pressure upon themselves and they've paid for it. Robson sees that he's got two forwards in front of him and he knows he's got the pace to him, so he just sends the little dink along the ground, chases after it himself. Sure enough, he pounces between the posts. And he's got Castleford off to the best of starts in this half. Let's just hope it's not the same story as the first.
I'm feeling it could be a long 40 minutes as Rovers are making another change. Successful conversion there for the Tigers. Again, Ryan Hampshire. On comes Luke Cooper. I didn't see who came off though for the Rovers. There's a kick-off. That's a mistake. That's a howler from the Tigers from that kickoff. He's had some decent kickoffs as Louis Brown caused one or two problems, and that one probably the biggest problem of all. And Rovers get a chance to hit straight back, Joe.
Definitely, and it's important that we take advantage of this opportunity. Like you say, Brown's behind some cracking kickoffs so far on the game, and now he's given us a really big chance here to score some points.
Will Milner, that's good defence. Sam Day waits. He's going to scoot himself. Clever play from Sam Day. Held up 2 meters short. Milner waits. Finds Thackeray now. Thackeray out the back. And Rovers have lost possession though. Louis Brown trying to force the pass. And we're going to see a penalty there, are we? No, a penalty for Rovers. What's the call here? It's a scrum head and feed for Rovers. I thought it was an incorrect play the ball myself. Joe?
The Castleford player was trying to claim that Davis was carrying on in the tackle, but he was just coming out of the tackle. He's getting up. The man's got to be able to stand up, and so when he dropped the ball, the referee's just given the knock on.
Here's Channing then, plays that ball to Sam Day. Here goes Luke Cooper. He made such an impact towards the back end of last season, did Cooper. And there's a penalty as well. Tigers losing their heads at the moment, Joe. And the Tigers fans don't like it.
Well, it was very similar, Ben, to the challenge that happened on the other side, for which Rovers received the knock on. Just a little nuances, I suppose. We're quite away from it up here.
Sam Day. Andy Bostock's back on. Not Bostock, sorry, that's Darryl Griffin. Thackeray. Davis, but that's good defence from the Tigers. Day finds Cooper again. Day goes himself. He's over. Sam Day from Atsin, halfback. He's over for the Rovers. And the Tigers self-destructed on that complete set job from start to finish. And Sam Day able to take the opportunity from a good drive from Cooper. Held up a couple of meters short and Sam Day scoots over. Rovers are on the board. It's the Tigers 36, the Rovers 4.
Well, Ben, nothing fancy, but we got up the right end of the field and you cannot give that man an inch. Because Sam Day will find a way over. Sure enough, we saw it again there. He's the first try score of the season for Featherstone, and now Thackeray's gone out his first points for Fev when he sends this ball between the uprights.
Through the uprights it goes. Featherstone Rovers are on the scoreboard. It's the Tigers 36, Featherstone Rovers 6. We've got some smoke over on by the Rovers fans. I don't know where that's come from.
Well, there's still quite a margin of difference on the scoreboard, but realistically, it's all level in this second half. And like we said, Ben, it's 0-0 again once that hooter sounded. So we're going back at it now, and let's try and win the half.
Rovers can certainly take a lot of positives from that try, Joe. The build-up, a lot of good play in the build-up, forcing the tackles. And Steve Snitch takes that ball in now. He was another player who stood out towards the end of last season. And here's Cording now. Day. Day again. Here's Thackeray. It's off the Tigers. Bounces awkwardly. Who's come up with this one? The Tigers have come up with it. But Thackeray there, Joe. A brilliant kick. causing havoc again, and the Tigers only just come up with it.
Well, Factory willing to try things. And, you know, some of them are going to come off, Ben. And when we in those difficult games of fine margins this season, he's a player who we know we're going to be able to call upon and might come up with something. But Almonroyd ripping the ball there. There were too many in the tackle. And sure enough, penalty to Cass.
Rovers much better start to the second half, Joe. Come out almost invigorated at half after the second half. That try could have gone one or two ways, but it almost seemed to lift them, the Tigers' try.
It did. You know, Featherstone are now showing that they're up for it. But now our defence is being tested again on our own line. Can we hold out this time? Because on many occasions in the first half, obviously, Castleford were able to find a way over.
Through the hands it goes for Cass, but that's poor defence. Steve Snitch not able to hold on in the tackle. The Tigers are over. This could make for an exciting, even second half. But the Tigers are over again. It's Castleford Tigers 40, Featherstone Rovers 6.
Well, we've had some serious flooding, Ben, but nothing has quite been sailing through like Castleford are whenever they're near the Rovers line today. It's disappointing to see we're just not able to take them upstairs in the way that we'd want to, and any little gap they're going over whenever they're one-on-one. It's disappointing to see, and it's something that needs to improve going into the upcoming games and coming into the remainder of this game.
So Ryan Hampshire with another conversion attempt to come. This should be straightforward for him. We're going to see the return of Andy Bostock in a moment. Hampshire converts. It's Castleford Tigers 42, Featherstone Rovers 6. As Andy Bostock returns for the Rovers. Luke Cooper's the one who's taken a breather, and Andy Bostock's now back on. Another good kickoff. This time it's taken though, and here come the Tigers again.
Well, Bostock, a player we're used to seeing making an impact as he comes off the bench. He started this game, but now he's making a return to the field. Can he have his usual impact? Can he change the momentum of this game?
Here are the Tigers now then, looking to work out. Junior Moores. Bostock, that's good defence, but the Tigers able to offload again. Moores able to offload as well. Rovers.
Repeatedly, we're not wrapping up this ball, Ben, and they're willing to switch sides. We've got to stay up as a line because they're dropping off on the far side time and time again. All Castleford are doing is swinging it out, and they're reaping the benefits.
Here are the Tigers now then. Matt Cook plays that ball. And there's another kick from Hampshire. That's all. The referee says the Tigers got a hand to that. A let off for Rovers. Referee judging the Tigers player got a hand to it before. Kieran Gill did. So Rovers survived, Joe. Sam Day moves that ball back into Bostock. Milner. Drop off pass to Snitch. Snitch back inside to Bostock. Bostock to Roche. But the Tigers, Joe, just sat back watching that play. Knew it was going to Roche, and as soon as he had the ball, the tackle was complete.
Little predictable. We were a little set in our way there, not willing to adapt, and sure enough, it had been spotted by Castleford, and Roche took a clattering for it. But he's back on his feet and he's making sure he's in the first tackle of that set.
Here are the Tigers now then. Hitchcocks. Looking to work forward, Tigers, but Rovers defence holding firm at the moment. 3 in that tackle. Just need to make sure that the ball is covered. Junior Moore's looking for the offload. Here are the Tigers now. A dink over the top. Louis Brown takes that one well. The Tigers player slips. And that's good play from Louis Brown. Good reading of the game, Joe. Able to take that well and bring the ball away.
Well, there's been a couple of mistakes from Brown, but overall it's been a promising game, and he's certainly not a player low on confidence. Time and time again, he's receiving the ball and running it back straight at the Castleford defence. He's willing to play ball in hand when he's entering the line, sending the pass out. Sometimes it won't come off, but if he keeps going at it, he's going to improve, and sure enough, it will soon enough.
So the Tigers with head and feet at this scrum. Here's Ben Roberts. We all know what danger he can be for the Tigers. And all credit to the Tigers, Joe. They could have fielded a weakened side here today. You know, given the youngsters are rung out. But the Tigers have got a lot of quality out there today. A lot of players you'd expect to see in their first match over at Hull KR.
Indeed, they're wanting to gauge their side, and they're wanting to develop those combinations. That's what pre-season's all about. You've got to make sure you don't get injuries to your star men, but you certainly want to see what they can do. And you want your new signings to be able to...
What a play that was!
Fantastic there from Turner. Leaps out, makes the interception, and that could well be crucial because you'd certainly have expected the Tigers to be over in the corner there had he not taken that.
Andy Bostock's down on his haunches. So Rovers already lost Matty Wildy earlier on in this game. I haven't seen him return. And now Andy Bostock's down as well. 2 players really, Joe. With the look at the squad as it is at the minute, Rovers can't really afford to lose either.
No, 2 essential players, Ben. It looked promising as well. They walked from the field, but you don't know because he was down for a long time without moving, and Andy Bostock here receiving attention, but not looking brilliant, and certainly any issues, you take him off to be on the safe side. We can see Bradley Tagg there preparing on the sideline to enter.
He is back on his feet, but he's being helped off by the doctor. So Andy Bostock has only been back on the pitch a few minutes, and now he's going off again. We're going to see the return of Bradley Tagg. But just on the side note, what an effort it was from Scott Turner then, Joe. Almost a try-saving interception, the way he leapt forward and took that ball. Otherwise, I fancy the Tigers might have been in again in the corner.
Certainly was, Ben, and he did brilliantly well both to spot it and to keep hold of the ball like he did in front of him as he made the collision with the ground. That's the try score in him. That's his finishing prowess, where he's just able to keep hold of it. It sticks to the palms like that. And sure enough, it was important there.
Here's Colton Roche. Thackeray through the hands. That's a good step. Rovers working that ball out over towards that far side.
Coventry's on.
Jack Coventry has come on. That kick's come off the Tigers. Awful bouncers. What's the referee going to say here? It's given head and feet to the Tigers. Not so sure what happened there, Joe. But the referee has called that Rovers not on. I thought the kick had been from Rovers. Had come off the Tigers, but the referee said that Rovers have knocked on, so it's head and feet to the Tigers.
I'm going to go we were quite away from it again, Ben. I'm copping out on that one.
Here are the Tigers now, though. Here's Kieran Gill. Roberts waits, he taps in half. Minikin again. Here are the Tigers. That's great from Thackeray. What a read. Go on, Anthony. Go on, Thackeray. It's great to get there. That is absolutely fantastic play from Anthony Thackeray. What a read on the intercepts. Anthony Thackeray. Oh, that's outstanding. The Tigers looking to offload again. This time Joe Thackeray read it superbly and showed the pace to outstrip that Tigers defence, and is over under the sticks. Tigers 42, Rovers 10.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ben, we said he's matured as a player, he's developed his game, but he's still got some pace to him. Not sure I could have done that with a Christmas pudding inside of me, but that was impressive. 80 metres there almost, all the way with Castleford players chasing him down. He could feel them breathing down his neck, but there was no way they were going to be able to haul him down. And what a debut. What a try to score on debut, Ben.
And now he's going to convert his own try. Yes, he does. The second half is tied up again, Joe. The score is Tigers 42, Rovers 12. But 12 all in the second half, and Rovers can take a lot from this second half, can't we, Joe?
Indeed, they can. It's been much more promising. That interception, not part of our game, but part of the individual brilliance Factory has in being able to spot that. And, you know, it's something we'll be hoping to see more of this season.
Things like that can lift a team as well, isn't it? When you get a performance like that, as Roche plays the ball today, and here come Rovers now working out from their own 20. You've just lost a player of the calibre of Andy Bostock, and then one of your key talisman produces a play like that. Gay. Here's Jack Coventry.
Coventry and Salby are other way around.
So Salby, sorry, not Coventry. Here's Sam Day now. Thackeray again. It's a high kick. Where's the problem? It's taken easily enough by the Tigers. But look at that Rovers chase, Joe. That is fantastic play. That try from Thackeray has lifted Rovers big time.
It has. It's given them a boost once again, and he's the man there on the kick chase, leading the way. He's got all the players following him, and at halfback, you want a leader like that.
Something Rovers maybe have missed the last couple of years is that real leader at halfback. But he can come in and he can do that for Rovers.
And something he's added to his game as well. By and large, he's able to work his way to the outside to avoid some of the defensive effort they'd had to come in. So he's fresh ball in hand, but he's capable of defending down the middle nowadays. He can lead the way, particularly on the kick chase. And we've all been talking about a Liam Finn replacement and how perhaps Anthony Thackeray could fill that role with the element of that pace he has to burn, much in the mould of Andy Kane a few years back.
Sam Day's coming off, and he has been replaced, I think, by John Davies. Took a big hit a couple of minutes ago. Sam Day seemed a little bit dazed, so the Rovers are taking him off. And John Davies it is who's on. Thackeray again looks for the offload. This time it didn't come off. He is wreaking havoc at the moment. Is Anthony Thackeray, Joe?
He certainly is, but it didn't quite come off there. But like we say, we want our players to express themselves in pre-season, show what they're capable of. And John Davies there in the first two tackles of the set once again. He gets stepped as he's chasing up on the fullback, but he makes sure he's there and gets back involved in the tackle.
Here are the Tigers now then. Looking a little bit disjointed at the moment, the Tigers. Rovers fight back, fight back maybe the wrong word, but spell is certainly causing a lot of problem. Tigers seem a bit disjointed at the minute, Joe.
Perhaps so, but I think that's perhaps more to do with the pressure that Rovers are putting under them. We've got the wind in our sails a bit, Ben. We look more up for it currently, and that's not the same side that Castleford have been playing for the...
What a take from Louis Brown!
This game, but that was phenomenal. He was well and truly under pressure there, but doesn't take a step back, that lad, and that was real bravery, Ben.
He's been outstanding at fullback this afternoon, hasn't he, Louis Brown? He's caused so many problems for the Tigers. Defended everything that they've thrown at him and more. And here come Rovers now. Here's Steve Snitch. John Davis is the acting halfback at the moment. He looks like he's gone into hooker, Joe. From second row to hooker in the absence of Sam Day. And obviously Matthew Wild is still off as well. What's the referee going to call? He's going to allow play to go on, is he? Yes, he is. Rovers are going to get another set here. Here goes Colton Rush now into the Tigers half.
It's an interesting one, Davis at hooker. To look at him, more in the mould of a 1960s hooker. But he's doing a decent job out there. The spinning pass both ways. That one into Milner. Milner taking on the line, but unable to find a way through. I'll tell you what, he's marshalling the troops out there in the middle, Davis.
He is indeed. And here's Colton Rush. Thackeray again now. Brown through a gap almost. Here's the last tackle. And it's Thackeray now attacked in half. What we're going to see. It's Milner. Well, that's off the Tigers. Panic stations in that Tigers defence. And Rovers forced a dropout, Joe.
Great pressure there from Gordon. Mended, they had to put the ball safe because they knew he was lurking there. He was looking to put that ball down. And yes, we have forced a dropout. We are in the ascendancy at the moment, Ben.
There's the kickoff. Taken straight forward by Colton Rush. He's going to run that ball back. That's a great drive from Colton Rush. Rovers starting inside the 30. Davies again now. Moves that ball inside to Luke Cooper. Here's Sowerby now. Rovers into the Tigers 20 again. Davies. Milner. Brown. Spins away from one. Davies waits. Milner. Here's Cooper. Rovers hammering at that Tigers defence. Just held short is Luke Cooper. Davies. And Rovers over there! Ah! Who's got that? It's Colton Roche. Rovers take the lead in the second half. John Davis with a simple pass from Atson half. Moved the ball out to first receiver. Colton Rush on the charge. It's the Tigers 42, the Rovers 16. But Rovers in the second half, Joe, leading now 16-12.
Well, simple enough stuff there, Ben. Two men running at the Castleford line. They're unsure which player's going to get it, and Davis chooses Roche. Roche plums his way over, and sure enough, Featherstone are putting on a much better showing here in this second half.
Kyron Johnson is kicking this goal and is successful. So it's the Tigers 42, the Rovers 18, and so much improved second half showing, Joe. And the Rovers have the second half lead. What a showing we are seeing at the minute.
Well, we've simplified things a little bit, Ben. We not swinging the ball about quite as much, but we are completing more of our sets. We're putting off far better showing in defence, and we're just bringing the ball forward with a bit more gumption.
Here's Sowerby, takes that first drive in. He was instrumental in that build up to that try as well. Davies is Bradley Tagg, can't take that ball. Rovers turn possession over, and now they need a big defensive effort. Here's Springer again. Here are the Tigers then, looking to cause problems. Roberts offloads, but Rovers hang on. They're 8 metres away of the Tigers now. Through the hands it goes, and there's a gap there, is there? What covering defence that is from Rovers. Scrambling defence works superbly. So looping pass, what's going on here? Who wants it? I don't know what the referee saying. He's given a tap on the 20. Rovers survive. And again, Joe, that's the spirit.
He's returned it there with a quick tap on the 20, and he's got us up to the 40-metre line.
The defensive spirit of Rovers there, fighting for a man, fighting to a man.
Channing taking it out the back of the hook. Like you say, Ben, great spirit in defence, and it set us up for this go forward on our next set. Turner there, taking his second. He's made another 10 metres. We're already well into their half. Davies there, scooting from the ruck. He's had a fantastic game, and he is well up for it today, Ben.
Sowerby. Milner takes on the line himself. Maybe the wrong option, but takes the tackle. Here's the last, and look where Rovers are. Davies. Drop off pass to Cooper. Cooper back to Milner again. Milner kicks through. The Tigers just get out. But what a set from Featherstone Rovers. From our own 20, Joe, tight to the Tigers line. We've got the ball back.
Away with the ball.
Rovers are over.
Johnson has got over in the corner. Fantastic work from Featherstone there. They knocked the ball loose in the tackle. Channing comes away with it, sends Johnson in. We are well and truly on the up now, Ben.
What a second half performance from Featherstone Rovers. Superb play to knock that ball loose. The set before, Joe, they went from their own 20 tap. They went to the field. And then in that first couple, the first drive from the Tigers, knocked the ball loose. Johnson able to get over in the corner. But that comes from Joe, from the spirit and willingness in defence on that last Tigers set on the Rovers line to keep the Tigers out. And then that build up to that try.
Well, here I think, Ben, we're seeing a bit of what we were saying earlier about Featherstone being a part-time team, therefore making the slower start, as you'd understand, in a pre-season game, because the combinations aren't there, but we've got a bit more familiarity in ourselves. All of a sudden, the players are more up to speed now. They're playing with more confidence. So they're putting in the effort in defence. They're more together as a line. And then they're running forward with some clout too. And that's putting Castleford under pressure. That's forcing mistakes like that. And then all we had to do was finish it off. They certainly did that.
Here come Rovers again. 20-point lead now for the Tigers. Rovers have cut that lead by 10. It was a 30-0 lead at half-time, and who'd have thought this at half-time? Rovers winning the second half, 22-12. But that ball's come loose, And a penalty is given. The momentum is with Rovers at the minute. Tigers don't like that one. Momentum well and truly with the Rovers, Joe.
Davis, the pass wasn't on the outside of him, so he kept hold of the ball, took the scoot, and has earned a penalty. What a game he's having today, Ben. What isn't he doing for us? He's filled in at hooker. He's putting the best defensive shift of anyone out there, and he's earning penalties. He's setting up tries. He's the complete player today.
It's going to be difficult to choose a man of the match for you in about 10-15 minutes, I'll tell you. Davis waits, he's tapped in half-back. Moves that ball inside to Ormondroyd. Ormondroyd moves it on. Through the hands it goes. Look at this. Milner to Brown. Brown is collared. What play from Featherstone Rovers. What confidence. Johnson attacks in half-back. Finds Milner again. Milner to Cooper. Sorry, Turner it was. Sorry, my apologies. Milner. The Rovers are into the Tigers 20 again. Davies. Here's Brown again. He's all over the place. It's Louis Brown. He's
took a bit of a clattering there, but you know he'll spring right back up. Sure enough, he does. Davies takes it outside. Channing's handing off his man. Can he get over in the corner? Forced touching goal. And it's going to be a 20 tap for Castleford.
But once again, Joe, Rovers attacking that line, that Tigers line with real venom and causing so many problems to Tigers in this second half. When we talked at half time, what can the Rovers take from it? You said not a lot. This second half, they can take so much more from this.
They definitely can. All we said was have an improved performance, try and win the second half. At the moment, we are giving spades full of both.
Here are the Tigers now then. With Gadwin Springer just inside the Rovers half. Tigers a minute. Rovers concede a penalty. That's probably one thing we didn't need. It gives the Tigers a chance. But the Tigers at the minute, Joe, are actually really struggling to break this Rovers defence down.
Well, it's a defence where all the players are 100% up for it. They know that they're playing for places at the moment, and it's a nice change from the first half where we were seeing them slice through us so easily.
Here are the Tigers now then. Roberts shows what he's capable of. But look at that defence again from Rovers.
Fantastic recovery. The players
and
slide out
the ball as well.
Sure enough, Featherstone have come away with possession now.
That again, outstanding defence from Featherstone Rovers. What fantastic defence from Rovers to keep Roberts out there and to force the ball loose to turn possession back. And now he can now build out from their own 20 again. Davies. Shown his versatility big time today as John Davies. In the second row at the start, he's had to come in at hooker due to injuries from Wildy and Sam Day. But he's doing a wow of a job at the minute. And the touch judge is on. You can see Davis there. The way he's talking to the players, Joe, he's giving instructions, saying what he wants. He's almost like a general in a way, isn't he?
Well, it's what we expect from a seasoned pro, Ben, but he does look like he's been playing at the club for 5 years.
So Rovers from that penalty, starting on the Tigers 40. Channing will take that tap and he'll run that ball in. That's a good 10 metres made from Channing. Plays the ball to Davis. Davis finds Tag. Tag gets Rovers up to 20. 2 tackles, 20 metres made. Here's Milner now. Brown.
We had the 2-man overlap on the outside. Get the feeling it should have been sent out the back there from Brown, but instead took the short man option.
Here's Cooper. Davis again. That's a kick through, but it's going to be too deep. Looks like Brad Hill's come on. He's looking to pull a few strings in the house. Tigers fans sounding very disillusioned with the team in the second half, aren't they? Done a really good job of quieting.
Certainly not in the same uproar, and that's not going to help things. Under no pressure whatsoever, the knock-on comes there. Featherstone have come away with it. They're sending it down the right side, and Johnson's got a pace.
Over
in the corner, and now he's come down
Tyron Johnson.
Made the conversion a million times easier. That lad certainly has pace the burn, Ben, and he showed a clean pair of heels there.
Kyron Johnson down that line. Again from a Tigers mistake though, Joe. Rovers have done a fantastic job of silencing this crowd in the second half. Johnson saw an open line, and instead of just grounding it, brought it in so far in field. This kick is a lot easier. And Rovers back to within 14 points if this is converted. 28 unanswered points, 28 points in the second half for Rovers. If Johnson can convert this.
Well, Ben, it is some Castleford mistakes that are letting Featherstone in today, but they're certainly always taking advantage of them, and that takes some work. Look at the scoreboard, though. Who says the comeback isn't on?
Johnson converts, and if Rovers can come back and win this one, Joe, from a 30-0 deficit at half-time, what a result that would turn out to be.
It's only pre-season friendly, but certainly it would be a confidence boost early doors for the players, and particularly for those young lads that are making their debuts, an important step for them.
Here's the return from that kickoff. Davies moves that ball into Cooper. Milner, snitch. Here's Cording. Davies again, snitch again. Milner. Maybe not the best pass there to Salaby. Davies kicking from Atsin half back. Taken on the full by Ash Robson. And look where the Tigers are starting. Davies, second rower, Atsin half back, and a good boot to him as well.
Definitely. What hasn't that man done for us today?
There are the Tigers then on the just short of their own 40 now.
Last minute.
We're into the last minute of the game. But there goes the hooter. The Tigers victorious. But wow, what an effort from Featherstone Rovers. 30 points to 0 down at half time. The second half started with Ash Robson going over to make it 36 after Hampshire's conversion. Sam Day scooted over from Atsin half-back to get Rovers on the board before Cass scored again to make it 42-6. Since then, though, tries from Thackeray, Rush, 2 from Johnston, and Rovers. What a second half effort, Joe, from being 30 points to 0 down to only lose by 14 points and to nearly equal the Tigers' first half score.
Definitely, Ben. The way we went about things in that second half was exemplary. Particularly the defensive effort. We looked like a changed side in that second half. The players were more in unison, more in sync, and if that second half is a sign of things to come, then things are definitely looking promising.
Standout performances for you today, Joe?
Well, I thought Channing did some exciting things on the fringes, and Thackeray, when we were in their half, had some nice bits of play off the cuff, but without a doubt, John Davis leading that defensive effort, steadied things down in the second half where he went to acting halfback, and it was a fantastic debut.
So what can Rovers take from this today? After being almost run over in that first half, you fancied it be 50 or 60 nil, but to fight back the way they have done with nothing to lose, what can they take forward into the coming friendlies?
Well, they looked very dishevelled first half, but I think that's a bit of the cobwebs that needed knocking off. You almost scrap that and look at that second half. What can we take out of it? We were far more up for it. Perhaps the set plays weren't quite there, but in terms of our defensive effort and the character we showed, it was far improved, and that's the kind of thing that we need to take into the upcoming fixtures. If we develop that over pre-season, then we'll be ready for one hell of a campaign.
Indeed, well, it is full time here at the Jungle. Not the score many would have expected at half time, but Rovers, what a second half fight back. Thanks for your commentary this afternoon, Joe. We'll see you hopefully next week at the back at Rovers.
Tarbend, that you will. The Lions.
Indeed. Final score here at the Jungle. It's the Tigers 42. It's the Rovers 28.